At the time, and I'm sure this has happened many times, but you were caught up into heaven and you saw someone you knew.
Yeah, see, that was unusual. I was in a season of prayer and just worshiping God, and suddenly I was in heaven, paradise. And there was great activity going on, like bustling. I don't know how to describe that. Almost like Christmas in a mall. And all of a sudden,
almost like all the activity is going on because the holiday or the event's about ready to happen. You have to get everything in place. So there's a lot of activity going on.
Much activity.
Yeah.
And my aunt, who had died about 7 years previously to that, walked up. And she was all excited. She said, "Bruce, it is so exciting." And I said, "What's so exciting?" She said, "The preparation for the marriage supper of the Lamb is almost complete. And heaven is abuzz with this news and excited because it's the culmination, the completion." And she said, and not only that, many individuals are visiting heaven from earth right now to go back with the testimony that people should be prepared because he's coming back shortly.
You know, that's the message I'm hearing from many people, that he's coming back soon. But the thing that's so unusual is even children are carrying this message back.
Yeah. There was a young girl in Singapore that had been in one of our meetings where we were teaching your birthright is to see and go as a Christian. And she caught the revelation and began to be caught into paradise. And at that particular time, I was visiting, I saw my aunt at that time. I saw this young girl, she was 8 years old, appear off to my left. She looked at me, smiled and waved, grabbed the hand of Jesus and skipped off with him. A year later, Sid, I'm back in Singapore and happened to have dinner with the grandmother and she was there, and she said, "I saw you in heaven and you were talking to your aunt."
Now that really blows some of you out of the water. But read the book of Revelation. I mean, read these visions that people have had, that Paul had. Tell me about this congregation in Malaysia.
On that same visitation with my aunt, I saw an angel off to my right standing in heaven with what looked like a Torah scroll, but I came to understand was a manifest. He was the angel that had charge and authority over all the resources of heaven that God had reserved for this generation. So I was ministering in Kuala Lumpur in a church, and they were in a building program for a new church. And while I was ministering...
By the way, that's a good angel to know.
Oh, yeah.
All the resources for this generation.
He appeared in the meeting. I saw him there and began to prophesy that, you know, as believers, we have that manifest. You know how we activate it? We speak it forth in faith, and it comes immediately. And so as we prophesied, they were taking pictures. They had learned to do that because cameras catch a lot of things. And they caught the picture of that scroll exactly where I saw the angel standing. And so needless to say, I was excited about that. It's one thing to have visions and people believe you, but God gave a tangible proof and evidence of that very thing.
This is so amazing. It's Hebrew lettering. So a year later, what happened to this congregation?
They built that church, I don't know if it was within the year, but within 2 years, I know for a fact. God supernaturally and sovereignly would bring in the resources consistently as they needed it. Sometimes the bank account would be empty. There was the money. It would show up. Sometimes they didn't even know how. Other times people would give large sums of money. And so they built that church very quickly with no debt, and there was a lot of extra money left over in the church.